Well, hello. Welcome to Purpose Echo. Better late than never, as they say. Cheers. I'm really, really sorry. I'm still trying to figure out this light that is actually shining in my face so badly. But I thank you very much for your patience. To every single one of you, absolutely awesome people, which I will try and name as we get along. Yeah, quickly we go up and down. Buzzy, thank you for always. Hendo's early. That means I'm late. That really means I'm late. Sorry, guys. Uh, Alison, our beautiful lady from the Bay, how are you keeping? Dylan, always good to see you, my friend. Great to see you as well again. Buzzy, Alison, Dylan, Debbie Murray, how are you keeping, Debbie? Missing you guys up this side over here. Dylan, Buzzy. My wifey, so we're going to try and keep it clean. Yeah, it's happy Women's Day for, was it yesterday or the day before yesterday? Yeah. You get your little signs out, guys. Employee of the month, and put it up on the fridge over there. Hopefully we did that. Really, really important that we did that. Otherwise, we have a little bit of problems. So the other day, go for a couple of drinks with the guys, and the guys insisted that we don't drive back. So the guy said, take the bus. However, to those people who said to me, leave my car at the pub and take the bus, well, it turns out I was not in fit state to drive a bus either. So that's where we left the bus behind. Thank you very, very much. Yeah, well, Mother's Day, well, not Mother's Day, Women's Day around. Reminds me of the very cute petite blonde. And it was snowing and bad weather outside, and on the radio, there was a broadcast that said, there's a blizzard coming up. Please park your vehicles in the odd parkings. And the husband and the wife were busy watching TV, and she jumped up and she ran outside and parked the car in the odd parking. She came back in again. Anyway, the next day, the same thing. They're watching TV, and the broadcast came and said, there's a blizzard upcoming. Please park your vehicles in the even parkings. So she jumped up and she ran out and she parked the vehicle in the even parking, and came to the third night, and next thing it said, well, there's a blizzard coming, please park your vehicles and the power went off. And she was absolutely frantic. She said, like, I didn't hear, I don't know what to do. What am I going to do with this car? And the husband looked, he said, honey, I tell you what, why don't we just leave it in the garage this time? So, hey, who we got? Hendo, our very favorite South African European, or European South African. How's it going, my friend? Always good to see you. What's it? Looks like a British bus. Yeah, well, South African ones don't go anymore, do they? Yeah, Debbie. All the men were wanting to know when it ended because they were starving. Yeah, of course. Blooming hell. What are we going to live on? Takeaways or something? Buzzy, sound good, picture good. Yeah, the only thing is this white light. I still look like Casper the Friendly Ghost. Well, I hope friendly at least. But yeah, something very sad. Remember WKRP in Cincinnati? Those of you who are old enough to remember it. Throwing my age down the toilet again. Lonnie Anderson, who played a struggling radio station's empowered receptionist in the hit WKRP in Cincinnati, died Sunday, well, that was last week, just days before her 80th birthday. So, yeah, very, very sad there. So many of our heroes are just going these days. So many of them are just going. Hindo, he's in. Well, luckily they didn't say take the train, because imagine what I would have done with a bullet train. Colonel, I'm sure Colonel Chris Wyatt has got a rat pack stashed back there somewhere if he's hungry. I think that's all he practically lives on, is rat packs or ration packs, because I don't believe that poor man's got the time to actually carry on to eat or anything. I often wonder when or how he sleeps. She was married to Burt Reynolds. Yes, she was, but Burt Reynolds has already passed as well. Endo says he's watching tearjerker Filipino American orphans YouTube videos. The real things, or is it a movie? I think you're watching real things there. Not too good. What has been something that has taken me out is the things that we've seen of the Palestinians who are starving to death. They are dying from malnutrition. They're being killed when they go for food, and it is I haven't seen uh, such hunger since I saw many years ago, and we're talking decades, the drought in Ethiopia. Endo says the Colonel feeds on Dwarvorst and dodgy pineapple pizzas. Oh, no. Who puts pineapple on a pizza? These people need to be shot in front of a firing squad. My goodness me. Pineapple on a pizza. Really, really. Too much. Too much for me. Too much. Dylan, I have my blinkers on. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, guys, before I carry on, yes, the guys that I always tell you to take a look at before we go into some news and views and just crashing along the news lines. Always remember that my news are tidbits that I pick up here and there, and I pull them and I put them on. If you're wanting to look at the proper deep dive analysis, fact checked, and properly analyzed news, always take a look at Chris Wyatt. And then there's a Renaldo Gouws, and then there's Newsflash by Joe Emilio, and then there's some more which I don't have in here, which would be the Truth Report, which seems to have come out very successfully. Morningshot by Byron Shepherd, and I think I haven't watched one of these yet, but I think Ronaldo and Byron do have a yak on a thing called Pod Shots or something to that effect. But downstairs you'll actually find the link for, I think Morningshot is there as well as Chris Wyatt and Renaldo Gouws. There's also a chap that I watch, and it's almost an opposite. And I watch it so that I actually keep it proper balance. Is called Skidmarks, aka Brickmarker, as the name of, I think it's Colleen Pretorius. Now, his views are almost an opposite views to certain things, which is why I often say to you is be careful on how much you believe. Figure out for yourself and put things together. I mean, there's a guy called Cyrus Jansen that I watch as well. He gives you all the great things about what's happening with China and everything in perspective, and it's phenomenal because there's a guy called Serpent ZA who's, I think he must have a very miserable, bleak, grey little life because all his whole life is built up out of just dissing China on everything. Whether it's true or not, he's just dissing them. It's really very bleak, his little life. Cyrus Jansen actually has a little bit of a build, but I also believe, obviously, it's pro-China, but he does run around everything as well. And he actually puts a little bit of facts behind his statements and that as he goes along as well, and does become more believable. But anyway, as I was saying, aka Skidmarks, aka Brickmarker, is a little bit of an opposite. So don't say, oh, I've sent you to go watch something and it doesn't exactly pan out with what everything's being said on the other channels, or it doesn't pan out what's being said on the other channels. It's just sometimes good to get a different perspective as well. Does the Colonel love his Friday crab treats? What? How did he get crabs? No, I don't want to go there. Don't want to go there. Didn't know there was rugby on today. Dodgy steaming crabs, but not onions on braaibroodjies. I do watch sometimes Serpent ZA. Hendo Serpent ZA is absolutely toxic. He's a pathetic little, miserable little grey man. He's, you know what? I don't watch him. I have seen some of his stuff and that as well. and there's China Observer and things like that I would rather watch to actually, if I needed to see a negative or a different point of view. But Serpent Zeda is just a pure malicious, sad little man. Dylan says, I left the onion at home for the colonel, and he told me not to bother getting him any for him. Oh my goodness. Haven't seen her online today. Oh, our lady in waiting, our beautiful lady in waiting, Fiona. She's probably got some activity that she's busy with. Never know. Even Fiona meets young gentlemen. Let's maybe not go to young gentlemen. But yeah. So yeah, as I said, Renaldo and the boys. Let's take a look. Oh no, yes, something else. Before I actually, I wanted to give you a little bit of old timers stuff. You know what I haven't written down today? I have, unfortunately, anti-China channel. Yeah, no, Serpent Zeda is totally anti-China. It's a South African who lives in the US who basically he has a fair, decent following, but I mean, compared to the world population, he's a pimple on a bull's ass, and so he has a few fanatics that follow him, but absolutely the wrong thing. Cyrus Jansen, I prefer, as I say, however he is pro, but he makes a lot of sense in a different way. China Observer, if you're looking at a bit of a negative side. But as I say, I try to keep abreast a lot more on South African stuff as well, because that's where we've got skin in the game. And I do enjoy Colane's point of view as well. As I said, it does not agree. It's sometimes in total contradiction if you're looking at our other channels that we watch as well. But as I've said to you before, you know what? Keep your heart open and your mind open, and don't be a sheeples. Somebody always used to say sheeples over here. Always busy in this world. Grandson Freddie was coming to visit. Okay, so grandson's coming to visit. But anyway, talking about old people, here's something for you on the old. Now I've missed it totally. Give me a second.
People love to talk about how getting older is all aches, bills, and bedtime at 8:30. But you know what they forgot? There are actual perks. Real ones. For instance, first off, I don't care anymore. And I don't mean in a grumpy way. I mean in a liberated, emotionally bulletproof, wear socks and sandals, sleep like a king kind of way. You mad? Okay. You don't like how I parent, vote, or mow my lawn? Cool story. Tell someone who hasn't paid taxes for 30 years. Second, I've earned wisdom, not the kind from books, the kind you only get in real-life screw-ups. I've lived through dial-up, Y2K, and New Coke. I know what's worth freaking out over and what's just noise. Third, I can say no. Want us to come to your 3-hour gender reveal in 104-degree weather? No. Am I sorry? Also no. Fourth, discounts, early bird specials, senior menus, free coffee at McDonald's. Keep laughing, Gen Z. I'm eating pancakes for $4.99 while you Venmo your rent money to your roommate. And finally, I know who I am. No more people-pleasing. No more trends. No more wondering if cargo shorts are cool. FYI, they are. Pockets equal power. So yeah, getting older isn't the end of the world. It's just the part where you finally stop auditioning and start enjoying the damn show.
So, yeah, I don't care anymore. No, I do. But yeah, I think it's nice to get to a point of your life, and I think it's good to actually look at something like that and be able to say, you know, it doesn't matter. Yes, what's it, your sarcastic little ray of sunshine? I like that cup too, Debbie. Our bot, our 7-star Michelin chef, how are you keeping, my friend? I was thinking of you today as I was plugging away at a thing called customer complaints, or dumb things customers say. And yeah, I had a good chuckle at them. And I thought our bot must have a few things to tell us. But yeah, let's get to the other guys that we were I was wanting to tell you about. Don't forget to keep an eye on these guys.
If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them,
Yeah, okay, I finished that one a bit early, but toughies. I don't care. No, I'm kidding. Jeez, if I can get that stopped. But anyway, yes, getting on. So, what Dylan says, bubbles keep popping in my nose. It's full of snot. Dylan, blow it. No, I'm kidding. What's this? I'd like to be able to survive on as little sleep as Colonel. Yeah, I don't think the Colonel sleeps very much. I think he's still got his army clock. I think he sleeps like maybe an hour or two, and that's only while the video is exporting or something like that. I must say, I have a good chuckle sometimes when I watch Cologne, because I think to myself, I've really got to try and keep talking. I can't, you know what, give air silence or anything like that. And Cologne sometimes like goes so silent and so still. He'd like, and then I like sort of like, I think I'm buffering. Let me see. No, it looks like he's breathing, or let's see if he blinks. And he's like looking at something, and I'm like, wow, what are you looking at? But yeah, so I'm going to try not to keep too quiet in that. But yes, something that's coming up. Ghost contract. The government pension body commits 1 billion rand to fictitious building lease. So the Government Pension Administration Agency agreed to pay more than 1 billion rand in fictitious agreement to lease a building for its headquarters. Shuli Developers does not own the property and has no access to the Brooklyn office park, to which it is ostensibly moving the GPAA head office. The JSE listed Attack is the owner of the property and has no dealing with Shuli or the pension administration funds. So these bananas, without going to take a look at the property and without going to take a look at the property, sit this way, without looking at the property, without checking ownership papers against, I think it's two other, I think that it was one of three, they took these people's bids. So where's the cadre part coming in again? 1 billion, they've already paid them to do fixing up and reparations and that, so that they can move into that building. And they do not even own the building, while there's two other people who bid on the tender, and they have papers of ownership, everything, the whole toots, and this person, these people got the contract. Just goes to show. Nog a cock story. Then we have police brigadier on job despite arrests for multi-million rand fraud and corruption. So more fraud and corruption. Brigadier Stefina Mahlangu has been arrested 3 times since February 2022 for alleged tender fraud and corruptions. Despite these arrests, Mahlangu remains employed by the police. The police said she was transferred from the supply chain management division and that internal department process were underway. Now, I ask you with tears in my baby blue eyes, and if you do realize I don't even have blue eyes, I think they're a puke green or something to that effect. But yeah, the bottom line remains, This person has been arrested 3 times. Arrested. You should not be allowed to be in the police force if you have any form of arrest or pending investigation against you. It's like right now, the head of police that's been put on special leave by Ramaphosa and gets somebody else in to be head of the. Why do we have, I think, who was talking about it? Was it I've forgotten Shepard's name now from Morningshot. And he was mentioning it as well. Why do we have deputies, vice positions, if we're not going to utilize them when we need them? If somebody's put on suspension or special leave or something like that, apart from the fact that they shouldn't be, they should just like suspended without pay type of thing. Now you're paying additional to have somebody take up that role when you have 2 deputies or 2 vice ministers, who one of who should be able to be stepping up into that role. If they are unable to step up into that role, obviously they are not competent to do so and should not be allowed to do so. JP, who's it? Good to see you, my friend. Yeah, what's new? More fraud. Don't worry about it. It's all fake news. Yeah, News 24. So it should be. Renaldo had a thing on the other day where News 24 had said that it was fake news that a farm was expropriated, and that was from their fake news desk, and they'd been giving fake news because the farm was actually expropriated. Go and watch Renaldo's video. I'm not going to do the whole story here. Walking freely like they're bulletproof. Yeah, exactly. Walking freely like they're bulletproof. We're all led for fools, and it's Byron. Thanks, Dylan. I was about to say, I don't think Byron intends to lead us as a fool, but yeah, if you say so. Anyway, let's pull on again. Another one over here. We've got an abused girl, 4 years old. She died in hospital after her parents' first court appearance. Now, I know they had her in hospital in a coma. The 4-year-old El Dorado Park girl died on Friday afternoon, hours after her parents appeared in court, with her father now facing murder and rape charges. 4 years old, ladies and gentlemen, 4 years old. The father allegedly drowned, beat, and sexually assaulted his daughter on Wednesday, leaving her with severe head injuries and brain damage before police found her unconscious on a bed. Both parents will remain in custody until the next court appearance on the 12th of August, with the mother charged with failing to report sexual abuse, while the father faces potential life imprisonment. I think he's down for manslaughter, should be around about now, because that is absolute madness. I mean, get somebody, how on earth do you get somebody that does to a 4-year-old? I mean, how does that gel in your mind? I mean, really. And then your own daughter, you know, that precious little gift that I don't know. I have absolutely no idea. So, but that's not another brain seizure. Let's take a look at our cops these days as well. We have Gauteng cops gunned down, prisoner escapes in a brazen attack. 2 Gauteng cops were shot and killed on Friday morning. They were transporting a prisoner from the Roodepoort Magistrates Court, and a prisoner, Jabulani Moyo, managed to escape. I mean, how ridiculous is that? That these days we are having this is stuff of movies that is happening. Roodepoort, I used to live there. So really, what is happening to our world when that happens? And how are we transporting? How, you know, what are we doing to defend our cops? What are we doing to defend our cops? Absolutely. It's ridiculous. I mean, we have so few cops as it is. And were they competent? And you know what? If they're not competent, I don't blame the cops themselves. I blame the people in charge who've put the cops in these positions. If you are incompetent in your position, it is not your fault. It is the fault of the person who has put you or allowed you to actually take that position or work in that position. Most of these people who are incompetent in their positions will take anything because it puts pay in the back pocket. And right now in South Africa, anything that puts pay in your back pocket is going to be a one-up on not getting anything. So, excuse me, your incompetence is not the fault of the person that is actually doing the deed. It's the fault of the person that put the person there to be able to do the deed. Can you say that fast without? I'm kidding. But yeah. I was just talking quickly to try and get my throat down. Yeah, Dylan, sadly, you know what? There's few that I do trust. There's one guy, and I know so he's got so many mental health issues, and I don't mean he's mad or anything like that. I just mean that he's really depleted because he's a good cop. He's a detective, a friend of mine, and he's such a straight laced, you know what, decent person. His heart is so genuine in the right place, but he's burnt out, finished. I mean, you know, he goes to work to run into a brick wall every day, and it's absolutely mad, absolutely mad. Debbie says kidnapping on the rise as becomes easy money. Anything that is easy money, Debbie. Yeah, I agree with you. Kidnapping, easy money. Fault of the education system, Dylan. That's also true. I mean, how can we deem people competent coming out of an education system that leaves them incompetent? Allinson says incompetent cops, excuse me, incompetent cops are cadre employments to keep the corruption rotting. There we go. I'm giving you something, not that you can do it, but because I can pay you for it. It's ridiculous. 30%. We know all what 30% means. It's a pass rate. Now, if you have a 30% education, guys, really, and here's the next horror. Debt crisis battling students owe universities billions in outstanding fees. Students' debt totaling 7.2 billion at 8 universities by December 2024 is putting pressure on the institute's financial sustainability. 8 universities reported a combined student debt of almost 8.8 billion rand by the end of 2024, with the CPUT, I think is it Cape Town University, something, TUT, I think it's Tshwane University of Technology, Cape Town University of Technology is the other one, among the worst affected. Factors such as unemployment, rising living costs, insufficient student funding, and capped NSFAS accommodation fees contributed towards the growing debt crisis, because they've capped fees as well. You can't charge more than this, so the universities can't even try and recuperate what they're needing from others. These figures, which is wrong, but I mean, sometimes it's, you know, you steal from Paul to pay Peter. These figures come amid serious concerns over the government's proposed regulation framework. That's the regulation of not being able to charge more, which is absolutely a fairly ridiculous thing to be able to do, because, I mean, really, we've got these people throwing themselves around, burning tires, ransacking places, wanting free education. And once again, let's go back to what Dylan and Debbie said. Your education system's down the tubes. You're coming out on the 30% education. How can your competency, now I'm not talking about the people who don't do the 30%. I do know that there are people who actually study at school, who actually get 70, 80, 90% plus, have got 6 distinctions and things like that. Obviously, these people are competent for university. But you have a vast majority who are scraping through at 30%. These people are now throwing toys to go to university for free education, and then we're not getting payment. Why are we giving out diplomas? Why degrees? Why are we allowing study to go on? Why are we wanting to waive registration fees? Why are we accepting more than the amount? And the problem is, here's the next thing: quotas to university. So we've got to accept 10-15% more incompetent people, because the people who are competent and qualified to go are the wrong color to go to university. I'm sorry. But it is so. You need to have X percentage black in the university. And if you have 10 white people that are competent and 10 black people less competent, but the quota is wrong, those 10 less competent, less deserving black people have to get those spots. And you can't do that. And then they're wanting to be paid for. That's ridiculous. Dylan says, why I never went to university. Alison, our school, 2 million arrears. There we go. How do you come back from that, guys? How on earth do you come back from that? I mean, so you can sit and say, yeah, we made R1 million last year. but we have 2 million rand that's not paid. That means you've lost 1 million. But it's the same how a company that I worked for, and it was a big company, always looked good in making profit, but their book, we've sold say 100 million rands worth of merchandise this financial year or whatever. So we're really strong. We're at 100 million rands sales. That's phenomenal. But the book is like 500 million, 50 million in arrears, 20 million still behind, not paid, and only have taken in the payment of, say, 10 or 20 million. You're not that strong. You're actually lagging behind with a wound that is in the jugular. Parents can't, or in some cases won't pay school fees. I understand school fees should be, you should have a government school that actually allows for certain parents below a certain income not to have to pay. I'm sorry to say, but school should be a right and not a privilege when it comes to public schools. If you want your kid to go to a private school, you probably got to be a cadre or one of those people who get gifted it or something like that. Otherwise, you've got parents who work really, really hard to put you there, because it does cost a hang of a lot. But if you've got a public school needs to be. And if we don't have enough schools, stop burning them down, start planning and building the damn schools. We've had schools planned for how long, and they're still not built. I mean, what was it, a 5-year plan or something to that effect? I think there was XYZ amount of schools, and not one of them, I think one of them had some walls. I've seen how many times that there's schools planned and schools planned and schools planned. The freaking things are busy multiplying. You know what? They don't know what contraception is, but they're not building an infrastructure to accommodate their great breeding appetite. I was looking at, I think it was it Morningshot or Renaldo and them as well, who were taking a look at your average household. I think it's 1.5 or 1.7 kids in a white household. And a black household is anything from 4 to 5 kids per household type of thing. So I don't know what you're trying to outbreed people or something to that effect. But even if you do want to allow or encourage it, then surely you've got to build for the infrastructure, and you can't quota yourself in there. If we could afford to study, don't you think we would have nothing? If we could afford to study, don't you think we would have nothing was free? Exactly, Debbie. Exactly. Don't you think I would have been studying a long time ago and not in my old age at the moment? 100% so. Nothing was free. You had to pay for it. And I'm telling you, the day you didn't pay was the day you didn't go on. And you couldn't run down the street and break shops and set cars alight and things like that. You'd be jailed immediately. Just look at the debt to GDP. Yeah, you'll see how much we are in the red. I don't know that figure, but I actually shudder to think of going to look at that figure, Dylan. I really do. We were at school, we were always doing fun. Yeah, that's the other thing. At school, everyone pulled together. It wasn't, you know what, these days everyone wants. It's a demand. Give me. What can I get? What can I get? And if I can't get, I'll break it so that you can't have either. That's the mentality. Dylan, no discipline between the knees. Dissolves from all the sweat, Dylan. Anyway, but our military is still at it as well, because now there's an investigation demanded after the Army's 34 million rand luxury trip to Cuba. The Department of Defense spent 34 million rand on a chartered flight to bring 212 students back from Cuba, with at least 25 generals and commanders traveling in the business class. The DA is demanding a full investigation into the lavish expenditure, which comes as the SANDF faces severe financial constraints. The spending contrasts sharply with the SANDF's financial problems. Submarines are not operational due to lack of maintenance. Soldiers rely on donations for uniforms, and supplies remain unpaid for months. This is madness. This is absolutely madness. And this This trip actually took some the you know what, it was no important envoy, by the way. They took some Cubans back with them when they went there, and these generals went there for the graduation of I think some first aid and some military training or something like that that these candidates were on. They flew up in this private chartered plane. Took some Cubans with them to go back or something like that. I don't know, going back from holiday or something, and then went there for the graduation, then collected these guys and brought them back again. 34 million rand. But we don't have a single submarine working. The reason why a plane had to be chartered is because we don't have one aircraft that can actually move us around. We don't have a military form of transport that can move us around. Even going to the Congo, they actually had to charter or contract planes to be able to take our soldiers into there. Now, how can you go and help somebody when you cannot even afford to get there? I mean, it's like having to go on holiday and hire a car because you don't have a car that's working. How do you justify that expense? It's absolutely ridiculous. And we're talking about the cops. High Court rule affirms that citizens' right to question police without fear of arrest. You can film the police. Yes, says the High Court, making a major win for public accountability after local man's wrongful arrest. Johannesburg High Court ruled that South African citizens have the right to question and record police officers without being arrested or intimidated. This judgment followed a case brought by the attorney Sean Jacobs, who was unlawfully arrested during a police roadblock. Now, I have no problem with that. They can be allowed to ask the police questions, and they can be allowed to record. As somebody also once said to me before, one of your best options is your camera, that dash cam. When it comes to having a cop, you turn your dash cam to your window, and you just say to him, my dash cam is recording our interaction. But the problem isn't with the genuinely decent people who decently and genuinely ask questions. It's those arrogant little pieces of shit that try and aggravate the police. Obviously, yes, we're going to stop bribery and things like that as well, and all these wonderful things at the police, because you've got a bunch of corrupt idiots sitting in the background there. But you know what? When you get two corrupt monkeys trying to show down against each other, it's an absolute shit show. How do you get these amount? Blows my mind. Surely, let me get to there quickly. Just a thumbs up. Just a thumbs up around and see the destruction. Yeah. How do we get to these amounts? Blows my mind. Surely someone signs off with accountability. How do we get to 8.8 million? Yeah, billion, not million. The universities, absolutely ridiculous. Now going on about gender-based violence, men beating women, and Women's Month. I actually didn't even put it in because there was also a news clip of a thing. How do we feel about, I think it's society, or no, how do we feel about economy still putting men first? I'm like, you know what, it's not about that. Gender-based violence. Why is there gender-based violence? Because we live in a land of poverty, and that is not looked after, and there is no infrastructure built, including a military and law enforcing infrastructure, which is not there. And that is why. If there was a law enforcement that was actually able to control domestic violence and gender-based violence, you would find far less. So don't look at the outcome, look at the reason before that. Damn thieves. Debbie, what is accountability? No such thing in South Africa. Dash cam is a lifesaver, says Debbie. Yeah, you just twist it to the window and you just neatly, politely say, my dash cam is recording our interaction. It's only good manners, and that's fine. They will break your camera even on recording. They are not allowed to do so, but yeah. It doesn't. We all count. It doesn't, and we are humans, and humans are basically evil. Let's take a look at a little bit of a break-in some people's innovation.
In the quiet hours of the suburban night, a drama is unfolding. Our footage captures the moment the silence is shattered. A car flickers to life, its brake lights glowing red. The engine rumbles softly. From the shadows, the opportunistic urban scavenger, Homo delinquens nocturnus, more commonly known as junkies, emerges. He approaches the gate, a formidable obstacle for a creature of limited cognitive prowess. Minutes stretch into what feels like hours. The junkie proceeds to poke, pull, and prod every part except the actual latch. But alas, it remains firmly closed, unmoved by the sheer density of stupidity of whatever half-baked plan the junkie cooked up. Eventually, with a huff of frustration and the IQ of a lukewarm meat pie, he retreats back to the car, defeated, perplexed, and no closer to freedom than when they began. Both junkies blindly search for a solution. Fingers pat around aimlessly, poking buttons and compartments with the hopeless optimism of someone who thinks sheer panic might substitute for intelligence. After several long seconds, he emerges empty-handed. Undeterred, the less intellectually equipped of the pair ventures back inside the dwelling, presumably in search of the elusive gate remote. A fatal error. Meanwhile, inside the car, the second junkie remains profoundly unhelpful. One might imagine he is contemplating his life choices, but more likely there's just a small imaginary monkey clanging cymbals inside his skull. Within moments, the household is stirred. A tremendous barking erupts, striking fear into the intruders. The first launches skyward, scrambling across the car and scaling the gate with the agility of a panicked spider monkey. The second follows, looking like a drunken octopus. The source of the terrifying bark appears, and it is not a beast at all, it is, in fact, the homeowner himself. With astonishing mimicry and presence, he has assumed the role of an apex guardian. His swift and decisive action has thwarted the intruder's feeble theft attempts.
You've got to give the man points. You've got to give the man points. We've got to give him points. What do we got? Dylan, yeah, the crackheads are destructive. Yes, and you know, the sad part, Dylan, we can't do anything about it. You can't even go to a cop shop. I had another piece, and unfortunately, I don't want to throw 1,050,000 news pieces on you. I already feel that I probably put too much news clips on you. But the thing is, you go to a cop shop, you could probably, there's a guy who walked into a cop shop, stole a laptop and came out. I mean, we had that thing on the other day where they went and stole a whole lot of things, including firearms and that. Was it not Bryanston, not Berea, what's the other scab place? Hillbrow, I think it was. I'm not too sure. Yeah, but love the owner, love the owner. Can't poison that dog, and I love the narration of that guy. It's so well narrated. Very, very good. Very, very good. How many of you actually have been flying not too long ago and have been in an airplane and have felt that turbulence? How do you feel when you hit turbulence? Here we are for the Stoutu Grotte VIPs. Very immense, don't worry, I'm not going to go there. But yeah, how do you feel about turbulence in an airplane? Darling, hold my hand. It's annoying because my drink spills. I'm simply sleeping through it. It's like a free roller coaster ride. Whee! And so the free roller coaster ride whee gets 168. So there's quite a few people that actually enjoy 168. Enjoy the turbulence. 72 sleep through it. It's annoying because I spill my drink. Or darling, hold my hand. Now, most of the people, 293, are not too great on that. They hold my hand. It's not so good. But yeah, I don't know. I'm one of those, I simply sleep through it because I genuinely get into the plane, fasten my seatbelt, and find the best place to put my head down in. How do you guys feel about turbulence? Does turbulence make your stomach turn? Does turbulence make you want to eat the toilet? I actually read about somebody who had such bad diarrhea that the plane had to turn around and go and land again for her to get off. So, yeah. Dylan says, I'm feeling like I'm falling out of the sky. Debbie says, I love to pull out my Bible and make people panic more. Start swinging your rosary around. Whee! The best one I liked was it not Zootopia? What's the other? Madagascar. Come on, Maurice, put your hands in the air. It's so much more fun. Yeah, so that is our one of our Yahoo polls. But why plane turbulence is really becoming more frequent and more severe these days. And as climate change shifts atmospheric conditions, experts warn that air travel could become bumpier. Temperature changes and shifting wind patterns in the upper atmosphere are expected to increase frequently and intensity of severe turbulence. So we can expect doubling or tripling in the amount of severe turbulence and around the world in the next few decades, says Professor Paul Williams. Well, I don't think I'm going to be around for too many decades. I'm really counting on clicking out sooner. An atmospheric scientist, but for every 10 minutes of severe turbulence experienced now, that could increase 20 or 30 times. So if turbulence does get more intense, it could become more dangerous too. Or are there clever ways that the airline can better turbulent proof their planes? I don't know. One of the places was AI. They said, well, you know what, we could get AI to navigate this. I don't know. I always like, you know what, if you're going to find a turbulent ride, make sure there's a nice lady next to you because she will grab onto you. Or you can grab onto her, depending on your nerves. In the US alone, there have been 207 severe injuries where individuals have been admitted to hospital for more than 48 hours since 2009. Official figures from the National Transportation Safety Board, I think there's been about 4 deaths. Of these, 166 were crew and may not have been seated. They could have been walking around because the freaking toffees always wait the bloody toilet. As soon as they get on the plane, what happens? They all run for the damn toilet. How's it, CB1? How are you keeping, my friend? Always good to see you. But yeah, I'm not too worried about turbulence at the moment. I have had a couple of flights with turbulence. I do find that it's becoming a little bit more frequent, but I just figured, well, it's the weather. You know what? The weather changes. What's it? Garlic. Hendo says also garlic. What? What are you talking about? Throwing it around in the airplane? CB1. Hendo says, get out the holy water. Next thing, you pull out a wooden stake. The pilot is changing. We need to end it. Well, the pilot just needs to go, ladies and gentlemen, and as it's going, the World Trade Center is just ahead of us. No, I'm kidding. That was a sick one. Sorry. We'll not go there again. Nick, how's it going, Nick? No, Askes, always good to see you, my friend. Always good to see you as well. You got the whole dang lot. Yeah, you got the whole dang lot. But yeah, anyway, just a quick little reminder. People that drink coffee are smart and sexy. I think that's me. Do you think you're smart and sexy? Let's take a look and see. About how much caffeine do you consume a day? A cup of tea, 180. A cup of coffee, 265. A couple of shots of espresso, 54. No caffeine, all natural energy, baby, 220. And I drink a concerning amount of caffeine. I like Yahoo's new social media editor, who obviously has a lot of coffee, 192. So most of the people, no caffeine, all natural energy. So we've got a lot of healthy little bugs around here. But the next one is I drink a concerning amount of coffee, matching up at 192. But most of them, sorry, not most are not natural. The most drink a cup of coffee. So coffee is a necessary starter in the day. It seems to be. Then it's followed by 220, no caffeine, followed by 192, a considerable amount of coffee, 180, a cup of tea, and then 54, a couple of shots of espresso. I would love to fall into a couple of shots of espresso, really. But yeah, what can I say? Sorry, I didn't mean to mute myself there. Yeah, coffee. I am absolutely, you know what? I'm like that. Don't freaking talk to me until I've had my first cup of coffee. Black and bitter. And everyone says, oh, like you like your woman. And I'm going, no, like my soul. That's it. On my first flight to the UK, the whole damn plane was shaking, says Hendo. Let me put this up so you can read it, because Hendo's got a really good way of saying things. On my first flight to the UK, the whole damn plane was shaking. My bread roll jumped out of my food tray, and I was started praying. Anxiety was sky high. Go, Hendo. You should set up a little place, you know, in the front there, like a little confession box. I'm telling you, I don't want to know the confessions you'll get when if that happens with a plane amount of people. If you want to keep going up, here's a confession box, even if the plane's going down. Let's take a look. I'm missing out there. Everyone's just greeting. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, 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 hello. Charles van Onselen. Is there a Charles here as well? Hello, Charles. If there's a Charles, sorry. I did forget to greet. I try and greet who I've got few enough people to greet, but you guys are becoming a whole lot of handfuls. So I'm like sometimes struggling to keep up. JP, how's it going? I laugh out loud at passengers in distress during. I love it as well because I enjoy it. You know what? I actually catch a thrill. I love roller coasters. I love scary rides. And when you're in a plane, if it's going to fall, what are you going to do? Just like, you know what? It's not bend over and fetch your parachute under your chair. It's bend over and kiss your ass goodbye. That's it. I mean, there's nothing you can do. So either you enjoy the little bit of fun. We used to, in the army, there was wasn't Colonel Major, flew the Flossies, and then he purposefully would fly that plane up like this and then drop it like that. Honestly, I remember we were with the Kimberley Regiment once with the pipe band and the drum major, the pipe major. He was going green around the gills from that. I really enjoy it. So, you know what? You're either going to enjoy it or you're just going to have a bad time because there's nothing you can do once if it's going to fall, it's going to fall. You know what? Nothing much you can do about that. But otherwise, 99% or 95%, or I don't know what the percentage is, but most of the time, it's not going to fall. If it doesn't stop, then maybe you can start worrying. But yeah, pulling out the rosary and swinging it around might be a good thing. Or else a little shawl over your head and you start rocking forward and backwards. That might also create a lot of panic and threat, etc., etc. Never know. But yeah, love these people that become concerned. But yeah, I'm not fond when it spills my coffee or anything to that effect either. Says JP, Stotuk for yo, says Hendo. Debbie says, almost shit myself. Hendo says, I love roller coaster, but not a flying bucket of nuts and bolts. Near cock. Roller coasters, you probably got more chance of a roller coaster flying off the track than what you've got in an airplane crashing. I honestly think they just televise airplane crashes more than what they televise roller coaster crashes. Seen those wonderful parks that tend to drop you. Just a quick one on coffee as well. Just what beverage is your biggest source of caffeine? So for those coffee drinkers or people that actually take or enjoy their caffeine boosts, about 48% get their caffeine boost from coffee. 20% from sodas, like obviously Coca-Cola, things like that. 7% from tea, 4% from energy drinks, and I don't know where the caffeine boost comes from the other bunch over there as well either. But anyway, if you're asking about my job, stop asking me about my job. Please stop asking me about my dream job. I never dream about working. Yeah. So there we go. Yeah, roller coasters, but I don't know. I've always loved roller coasters, and I've always also thought, has this ever crossed your mind that a person with anxiety goes away when you're able to lift the adrenaline level to a certain level and actually puts your anxiety away? Are anxious people just people running at a lack of adrenaline? Just a thought. Because whenever you adrenalize, you actually feel more relaxed. So if you're anxious, I mean, for me, I get terribly anxious about things and terribly stressed out. And the minute I can adrenalize, I am so much more relaxed. So, you know, if the best medicine for me is when I'm like tense, is to go on a roller coaster. It feels so much better afterwards. Alison says, check out roller coaster crashes on YouTube. Yeah, I should check out plane crashes just before I go flying as well. No, thank you. I'm looking at, I'm actually very, very excited. Next week, this coming week on Wednesday, we're going to Shanghai for 3 days as well. So hopefully I can bring back some pics and videos there for you. But yeah, I just got to get away because I'm working myself into a absolute stupor. I was at work until 8:30 last night still, and got back even later because it's an hour from there to here, and then still all the talking and nonsense afterwards. Get back here nearly 10 o'clock at night, and I've been 2 weeks now without a day off. This is my first day off. And yeah, then I also get pretty anxious about the stream because I've got to try and put something on here. What are we looking at? Interesting. I thought energy drinks would have had more. Debbie, so did I. But I think that is just people that have declared where they get their caffeine from. I think a far, far much higher percentage of people actually are reliant on energy drinks for energy and don't actually associate it with coffee. So yeah, just my point and opinion as well. Hendo says, yeah, Alison, you're not helping. Debbie says, love Disney World at Epoch Center. Yeah, I'd love to go to Disney World as well. There is one actually in Shanghai. There's Shanghai Disney, but this time I just can't afford to go there, so we shall not be going to Disneyland in Shanghai. So unfortunately, no Disneyland pictures. Once I can actually save up a bit, we should hopefully take a trip to Shanghai to go to Disneyland. Buzzy, oh, you cooking? Okay. Hey, Chef Buzzy's ball and chain's been shortened again. Hey, Buzzy, not a problem. Take care of yourself there. Thanks for everything. Awesome. Bring us holiday vibes. Yeah. I need to get away, as I said. Otherwise, I'm just not going to stop working. And I'm anxious, but love flying, says Alison. Well, this is the whole thing. I love flying as well. Flew from Uitenhage to Grahamstown in a microlight. Now, this is what I'm saying. That adrenaline just actually takes the anxiety away, doesn't it? Doesn't it make you feel less anxious? I do believe that people with high anxiety levels need to do adrenalized sports or something that adrenalizes you, you know, just get thrown off the end of a building with a rope or something like that, or at least go on these roller coasters or something or whatever that can actually push your adrenaline. And you will find that it actually probably does a lot more good than bad for you when you are anxious, because it gives you that spurt of what you actually need to counter the anxiety. I don't know. You let me know what you think, but I just think that, you know, on a plane, I am like, and then you hit turbulence and like, and back to normal again, you know. So you're like happy. I don't know if it's because everybody else is going along like a wild monkey next to you. Thanks, Dylan. Thanks. I'm only going to go for 3 days, but yeah, it's Shanghai, Shanglo, Sweet Chariot. Thanks, Nick. I went on the Cobra at Gold Reef City, says Alison. Alison, I went on the Cobra at Ratanga Junction, and I loved it. I'd ride it, and then I'd get off, and then I'd run around to the start again, then I'd get on, then I'd ride it, then I'd get off and go around to the start again, then ride it, and I'd do that about 4 or 5 times. And that wasn't very long ago. That was like about 2017, it was about 2015. But still, loved it. And I would get off and just run around to the start again. Debbie says taking breaks is beneficial for both mental and physical well-being. Yeah, no, I think I'm going to have a bit of I need to rest the mind as well, because I'm pretty tense in the mind. Also, I'm busy with my last assignment now as well. And then my studies cool off. My last assignment's got to be in Wednesday. And then I only start the next term on the 4th of December again with the studies. So fortunately, I'll be able to go away and not have to work on assignments as well, which is great. Turbulence, a hot man says. Gotta put it up there just for Hendo. Turbulence, a hot man. Debut this. Thanks, Alison. Talking about bad words and all kinds of wonderful things, spelling is very, very important. Very important, especially at shopping centers. It can be very dangerous, especially for kids who've just learned to sound and spell. Your kid can be reading you absolutely the wrong ingredient at $29.99. Potato, potapus. Potapus 8. And I'm not saying anything bad. I'm reading the sign. $29.99 each. 2 kilograms. Freaking mad. That's what a big packet of potatoes used to cost not so long ago. Hendo, Ratanga Junction did exactly the same years ago. One of my high school classmates was working there in 1990s. No one Cobra was enough for me, says Alison. At long last holidays, yes. I've actually been on holiday for a month now already, but I've been working every single day. So I'm going to go back to school, and then I haven't had a holiday. Dodgy female potatoes, says Enda. Yeah, dodgy female potatoes. So yes, going from one highly strung thing to another. Let's pee everyone off again. Somebody posted this. And so I thought I'll throw it in the mix to get a little bit of a viewpoint. No, let me not throw this in. I'll actually throw it in the mix next week. Because let's just do quick one. Movie. So what did I watch this week? This week I watched one of the most stupidest movies I've ever seen in a long time. The Naked Gun. If you really like tongue-in-cheek, absolutely stupid, silly humor, you will love The Naked Gun with Liam Neeson. Liam Neeson is an action star, and he's absolutely embarrassed himself by doing a stupid thing like this. But it is high on the ratings. It is absolutely wonderful for people. I did get a chuckle or two in there. Once again, I'm not a comedy person, but I do believe it ranks up there for one of the best tongue-in-cheek, sarcastic satires that you can actually get. I do think they pulled it off really well for a Naked Gun, and they actually attached it very, very nicely to the previous Naked Guns. So by all means, guys, do not take my lack of humor and not watch it. It is well worth the watch if you are into good comedies. Then, strangely enough, last night I had an epiphany. I actually was hearing the one student speaking about a movie that I was working with, about a movie where this guy went to space and came back, and his daughter was older than him. And interestingly enough, I was able to put that on Perplexity, which is the AI platform that I use. And I said, well, you know what I'm looking for I think it was Grok I actually put it on. I'm looking for a movie about a guy who goes to space and which ages slower and comes back and is older than his daughter. And it just put out everything for me. The movie you're looking for is Interstellar. It's got Matthew McConaughey. It's this and this and this. It's from 2014. It is way longer than what you expect a movie to be. Really good, I'd say. No action in it at all. So I would call it a science fiction drama, but very well worked out. I enjoy stuff that sort of fiddle with the mind a bit as well. I think really, really put together. Most of you have probably seen Interstellar by now. It's 2 hours and 45 minutes long just before you actually sit in for a need. But yeah, thanks, Dylan. Yes, I do need a break there. Damn, never got to Ratanga. Yeah, Ratanga is also closed now. Yeah, Interstellar is really really good. It gives you a bit of think. Um, I don't want to give the whole thing away, but you know, don't expect laser guns and actions, and there's no aliens and things. Although they do talk about them or they, but you know what you're talking about, looking at the survival of Earth and the possibilities of what could be in the future, and how it affects and how the travel will actually affect. But yeah, it really, and then it actually goes into some science fiction, and it takes your 2 dimensions and makes it 5 dimensions. As I said, something that you can really sit and watch when you're actually wanting to watch something to put your mind to. I really enjoyed it. No, it's not an action or thriller or anything like that, but it is well worth the entertainment as such. Going to, yeah, Debbie, I think you suggested The Assassin, and sadly, Ina and I binged watched all 6 episodes. I think it's 6 or 7 episodes of the 6 episodes of The Assassin. Excellent, excellent. It's got the guy from The Good Doctor and from Bates Motel, uh, Freddie Highmore. I can't remember the woman. She's quite well known as well. Excellent, excellent, excellent. The fact of the matter that it is nice and compact, and you don't have to wait for the next program, and you don't have to wait for the next one, and it doesn't end on this like cliffhanger that you now got to wait until next year for it to get better. Excellent, excellent, excellent. I can really, really recommend it. It does keep you on your toes. The twists and turns that go through it also keep you thinking, and things are always coming out new. So really, really enjoyed it very, very much. Another one that I actually have been watching for quite a while is Dark Winds. It only has 2 seasons in it. It's nice and it's good. I wanted to watch something like this because I was looking for Longmire. It's on a reservation, Indian reservation, a policeman, and then the one guy from the FBI comes in, but I don't want to go through it too much. It doesn't seem to take off with speed so much. There is action in it, and there's twists and turns as well. I don't feel it made its full potential, but I did enjoy it overall as well in the long run. Really, really good. And I did some speed reading as well. I love the Hunger Games. If you enjoy the Hunger Games and you've done all 4 of the Hunger Games, I read all 3 of the Hunger Games books, and then the 4th one, I actually watched the movie, but this is the 5th one, Sunrise on the Reaping. It is the story of Hamish Abernethy. That was, if you remember, in the original Hunger Games, he was the mentor of Katniss and Peter that went into the arena. And this is actually the story of when he was chosen to actually, or when he went into the Hunger Games as a contestant in that. I really enjoyed it. It's quite nice. If you enjoy Hunger Games, you'll definitely enjoy it. If you don't like Hunger Games and dystopians, you're absolutely going to hate it. But for me, it was really, really good. I couldn't put it down. I was reading it in the taxi on the way to work. I was reading it in the taxi on the way back, in between work. In the mornings when I got to work early, I was sitting there downstairs and I was reading while I was waiting for class. But so were all the Hunger Game books were like that for me. So, yeah, you should enjoy it. Looks like a real spoof of a movie. Yeah, now, you're talking about spoof, Naked Gun. Yeah, you can, as I say, you can just switch your brain off and you'll probably still chuckle, because it did get me chuckling at spots. They go very over the top. If you like Police Squad and you like the Naked Gun, you enjoyed those ones with Leslie Nielsen, then you'll definitely enjoy this. I'm just heartbroken that my action man, Liam Neeson, is the ass. But yeah, what can we say? He did a good job in the end, I'd say. I think Liam's also hanging up the action gloves now as well. He's starting to get older, so he's probably taking age-appropriate roles as well. Interstellar, as I said, definitely something that keeps the mind, and it follows a lot more than outer space if you're actually considering the human race as such. But yeah, it puts a lot of factors together. Leave No Trace follows a father and a daughter off the grid. Director Deborah Granick's new film is based on a true story. Let me just put it up there, Debbie, so that everyone can read it. Leave No Trace follows a father and a daughter off the grid. Director Deborah Granick's new film is based on a true story about a veteran suffering from PTSD who lives secretly in a municipal forest. There's another one that I've actually been wanting to take a look at. I haven't got around to it yet, but yeah. Dylan, I am keeping busy, sometimes more than what I would like to, but yes. Let's end up at this one. Let's go and see how bathing your kid is done in South Africa. And I think, Debbie, I think you gave me this one. Thank you very much. Versus a good scrub in Africa. Bathing in China versus a good scrub in Africa. Let's see.
Konnichiwa. Sayonara. Kochi kochi kachin. Sayonara.
Switch. Guys, have a good one. Thank you so very, very much for tuning in. I really, really appreciate it so very much. Take care of yourselves. Don't spend too much money. You never know. Keep all the money you got, you rich folks out there. And I don't think you're rich for money. I think you got rich in kindness. You're rich in the hearts that you are. You're rich in the wonderful people that you can be. Never become a sheep. Remember always to keep your mind open. Make your own decisions in that as well. Always respect the opinions of others, but never at the cost of your own. Keep your own open and always stay adventurous. Be good. Take care. And if you can't be good, be kind. Cheers.